Hollywood, if nothing else, adores a good heist story. There is nothing more thrilling than pulling off that one big score, as seen in Audrey Hepburn's Nicole Bonnet attempting to steal a fake before it is sold in 1966's How to Steal a Million, or George Clooney, Brad Pitt and company robbing a casino of a cool $160 million in 2001's Ocean's 11. Yet, whether or not it is true, the iconic French burglar Stéphane Breitweiser has a heist tale to rival any. In 1994, Breitweiser noticed an antique pistol on exhibit at the Musée des Amis de Thann in Alsace, France. Breitweiser regarded himself as a devotee of all things artistic when he was 22 years old. Breitweiser leaned out, opened the glass case, and seized the revolver as he stood in front of the hand-carved antique gun from 1730, while his girlfriend Anne-Catherine Kleinklaus watched. Breitweiser and Kleinklaus departed the museum without incident because there was no security system or guards. Stéphane Breitweiser, a French art thief and novelist born on October 1, 1971, became well known for his crimes between 1995 and 2001. While working as a server and traveling throughout Europe, he admits to stealing 239 pieces of art and other exhibits from 172 institutions, or one every 15 days on average. He was referred to as perhaps the world's most dependable art thief by The Guardian. So, given all of these, how did one guy manage to amass $1.4 billion? What exactly was the plan? How did he avoid capture by the law? You will get to know this and plenty more as we dive into details. So sit tight and stay tuned with us till the end of this video. However, before that, here's a quick reminder that you can subscribe for free and like the video so that we can boost the algorithm. Comments are most welcome. A security officer in Lucerne, Switzerland, noticed something strange in a museum in May 1997. The wall space where one of the museum's artworks typically hangs is vacant. A man and a lady were just seen leaving the front entrance fast by the security guard. A tiny number of people visit the museum each day. The guard sees the couple getting into a car as they are running outside, and sure enough, the missing painting from the museum is sitting on the back seat. The museum is fortunately situated adjacent to a police station, and as luck would have it, burglars are quickly apprehended. The man's tremendous remorse for removing the painting, a last-minute decision he now regrets, is however made clear during the subsequent trial. Due to his spotless criminal record, the person is freed with a suspended sentence and does not spend any time in jail. It wasn't recognized at the time that the Swiss authorities had just allowed the biggest art thief in history to avoid them. Here is the remarkable story of Frenchman Stéphane Breitweiser, who stole artworks worth roughly $1.55 billion. You would still need to steal another $500 million worth of artwork to surpass Stéphane Breitweiser's record. To put that amount in perspective, even if you were to don your best cat burglar attire right this second and steal the three most expensive works of art ever sold at auction, Salvator Mundi by Leonardo da Vinci, $450 million, Interchange by Wilhelm de Kooning's $300 million, and The Card Players by Suzanne, $250 million, you would still fall short. Stéphane took an almost astounding amount of artwork, but what he did with it all once he had it is perhaps even more unbelievable. Stéphane felt a peculiar inclination that occasionally occurs to all of us when he was gazing at a portrait by German artist Christian Wilhelm Dietrich, a brief, powerful urge to carry out an action we absolutely shouldn't, such as jumping off a bridge, attacking a bystander, or robbing a gallery. By the way, don't feel awful if you ever get the urge to down an OAP. In fact, this kind of inappropriate tendency is so common that it has its own name, cacoethus. Most people only have cacoethus for a few milliseconds, but Stéphane's lasted long enough for him to tell it to his new girlfriend. This wasn't the most exciting art robbery by any means, but his new girlfriend was entirely on board. The castle was nearly empty, so all Stéphane had to do was take the picture out of its frame, tuck the canvas into his bag, and walk out the front door. Despite the lack of excitement, a global profession in art theft, that had never been witnessed before had just begun. Stéphane accomplished 239 successful art heists at 172 galleries in at least 7 different countries during the course of the following 6 years. So how did he manage to do it? Since you're either going to get caught or make enough money to retire to your own private island in Micronesia, art theft isn't typically thought of as a solid long-term job option. If you picture large heists with Ocean's 11-style planning and huge professional teams, you're wrong. There were no artfully created diversionary devices, intricate museum floor plans, or excursions through carefully positioned air vents. In reality, a lot of heists weren't even carried out at night. They happened during the day, usually with tourists and security personnel present. Stéphane had seen that small galleries had the security of a piece of Swiss cheese, whereas large galleries, like the Louvre and Amass, have sophisticated security systems that made Fort Knox look like a drafty henhouse. Most rely on the generally good trust of their customers and the frequently false belief that every work of art is bolted down and equipped with an alarm. In conclusion, outside of the famous few, great works of art can occasionally be frightfully easy to steal. Although Stéphane's heists varied a little bit from one another, they were all so easy that they were almost amusing. He essentially waited until nobody was looking, grabbed what he needed, and left through the front door. Paintings would be removed from their frames and tucked away into a loose-fitting garment over the course of around 20 minutes. A screwdriver would be turned one turn at a time to open display cabinets. Stéphane's most sophisticated weapon was a telescoping radio antenna from the 1950s, which he used to move any CCTV cameras that were awkwardly placed to look away from whatever it was he was about to take. It's important to note that estimates for the exact value of the artwork Stéphane stole vary. However, the sum we discussed earlier, $1.4 billion, is the one that is most usually referenced. Stéphane Breitweiser, the art thief, would have been among the richest people in the world as of 2001, when this astounding crime spree abruptly came to an end, if the New York Times estimate of the sum were accurate. Stéphane and Anne-Catherine, his long-standing lover, appeared to be in dire financial straits, though it wasn't immediately apparent from his demeanor to the outside world. Stéphane took great risks to steal hundreds of priceless items, yet he never sold even one of them. The justification is humorous in a way. Stéphane didn't become the world's top art thief in order to get rich immediately. He liked art and wanted to enjoy holding and admiring the works he had stolen, so he stored them in the flat he shared with Anne-Catherine. Incidentally, the apartment in question was located in the attic of Stéphane's mother's Mulhouse, France home. Because they were so poor, they couldn't pay rent. About $1 billion worth of expensive fine art was exhibited on the couple's drab walls, spread across side tables and stacked in corners. A collection that many international galleries could not have equaled. Although Stéphane was a very skilled burglar, it was his odd preference to keep the things he had stolen rather than sell them that allowed him to get away with it for such a long period. You know, a lot of art thieves succeed in making a safe getaway with their plunder, but it's not easy to sell an internationally recognized work of art. You cannot simply post an item on eBay and watch as the market erupts in million-pound bids. Stéphane Breitweiser amassed a total of 112 different priceless items, including 60 paintings. Breitweiser was detained by law enforcement after visiting a museum in Lucerne, Switzerland in November 2001. Breitweiser was charged with stealing a bugle from the 14th century, and after the incident we recounted in the introduction, he was caught returning to the crime scene to clean off any fingerprints he might have left behind. Stéphane was caught taking a photograph in Lucerne in 1997. At the time, he had just been given a warning, but his fingerprints were collected when he was taken into custody. After that, to ensure that his prints couldn't be linked to his prior arrest, he took extra care to wear gloves when robbing individuals. Unfortunately, Stéphane neglected to put on the latex gloves he had brought, which meant that if the cops happened to check the bugle's display case for prints while he was stealing it, the game was over. To make matters worse, this bugle was found in the Richard Wagner Museum in Lucerne, the same city where he had previously been apprehended, of all places. 2 days later, Stéphane went back to the museum to cover his traces. Because the bugle duty had been one of his rare solo operations, it was decided that Anne should be the one to remove the prints, but Stéphane chose to go with her because it was a dangerous job and he wanted to provide some psychological support. While Anne entered the museum, Stéphane took a stroll around the grounds to ease the mind of his troubles. Unlucky for him, a man who had seen him in the museum the day of the robbery recognized him. Stéphane was shortly detained for a second time after the police were summoned. He was initially not overly concerned because, after all, he had been caught before and gotten away with it. All he had to do was persuade the police that he was a regretful first offender, just like he had done the last time. Nevertheless, at first, something changed. Stéphane's detaining officers ceased interacting with him, and the sympathy his remorseful idiot routine had won him vanished overnight. Stéphane started to worry about the worst, and for good cause. The police no longer regarded him as an impulsive opportunist, but rather as a potential serial art thief when someone in the department learned about the record from the earlier incident in Lucerne. A few weeks after Stéphane was detained, Swiss police were able to enter his Mulhouse attic apartment thanks to an international search warrant they had secured. Even if the theft of precious works of art was not amusing, the worst was yet to come. Muriel Stengel, the mother of Stéphane Breitweiser, acted independently after finding out that her son had been detained. According to GQ, Stengel and his fiancée, Anne-Catherine Kleinklaus, started destroying the extensive stockpile, at least in Breitweiser's account. In an effort to conceal the evidence, paintings were torched and destroyed. In addition to money and jewels being recklessly dropped into a nearby canal, ancient tapestries were also flung into the woods. Most of the paintings were not recovered, while many of the items were. Stéphane Breitweiser was given a sentence of 26 months in jail for the theft and destruction of artwork valued at $1.4 billion. His mother, Muriel, was given an 18-month sentence, and his girlfriend, Anne-Catherine Kleinklaus, was given a 6-month sentence for serving as a lookout. We have now concluded today's episode with the tragic demise of a small thief. What about his character has most shocked you? Do let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up. It will help us to understand our audience and allows YouTube to suggest similar videos to you. Thanks for watching. We hope to see you at the next one.